You ever sit at a holiday table surrounded by people you thought loved you and suddenly feel like the floor has disappeared beneath you? Imagine at Christmas dinner, the lights are warm, the smells are comforting, everyone is laughing and talking, then your own brother stands up and says you are no longer part of this family. Everyone turns to look at you, jaws drop, your heart races, your mind spins. How can this happen here in this room in front of everyone? You try to speak, but no words come out. The room is silent except for the nervous chuckles of those who are too afraid to speak up. You feel a rush of confusion, fear, anger, disbelief. What did I do? What is happening? Why me? And just as quickly as the words left his mouth, everyone starts cheering, your stomach twists, your hands shake, and for a moment you realize nothing will ever feel the same again. This is the moment everything changed forever, and you are left wondering what comes next. Hi, my name is Mary, and I share stories that reveal the hidden truths behind family conflicts and life-changing moments. I have spent years listening to real people facing impossible situations and helping them find clarity and strength. I know how it feels to be caught off guard, rejected, or misunderstood. I know the weight of a room full of eyes on you when everything you believed is suddenly questioned. Today, I want to take you by the hand and walk you through an experience that will make your heart race, and at the same time show you that even in the most shocking moments, there is a way to respond with courage and intelligence. As you listen to this story, imagine yourself in that room, feel the tension, the whispers, the judgment, but also the possibility of turning it all around, because no matter your age, your past, or your fears, you can face the unexpected with wisdom and strength. And in the next few minutes, I will show you how one single choice in a moment of chaos changed everything and revealed something no one saw coming. Most people think that by the time you reach a certain age, family gatherings become predictable and calm, but the truth is studies show that over 60% of families experience serious conflicts during the holidays. Arguments explode, secrets come out, and sometimes even the people you trust most turn against you. I had always believed that by the time I reached my 60s, I would be immune to shock or betrayal. I thought I had seen it all and prepared myself for every twist and turn in life. But that night at Christmas dinner proved me completely wrong. My brother stood up in the middle of laughter and conversation and declared in a voice that echoed through the room, "You are no longer part of this family." The room froze for a moment. The heat of the oven and the smell of roast turkey disappeared, replaced by a silence so heavy it felt as if it could crush my chest. And then the impossible happened. Everyone cheered as if this was a victory, not a tragedy. I could not comprehend the scene. I had to remind myself that reality often defies our expectations, that what seems safe and familiar can shift in seconds, and that the true measure of courage is revealed not in easy moments, but in those times when everything you know is suddenly questioned. And as I looked around the room, I realized that this was not just a family conflict. This was a test of how I would respond to the unexpected and how I could reclaim control of a situation that seemed entirely out of my hands. And the lessons I learned in those moments would shape everything that came next. It was Christmas Eve. The house was filled with the familiar smells of roasted turkey, cinnamon, and freshly baked pies. The lights twinkled softly, casting warm shadows across the walls. The table was set perfectly with fine china and polished silverware. Everyone was seated, chatting and laughing, sharing memories and small jokes. The atmosphere was supposed to be comforting and joyful, yet beneath the smiles and polite laughter there was an unspoken tension, a subtle undercurrent that hinted at unresolved disagreements that had been simmering for months. I had arrived earlier in the afternoon, arranging decorations, helping with last-minute preparations, hoping to create a sense of peace and togetherness. I looked around at my family, my brother, my sister, my parents, my cousins, and for a moment, everything seemed normal, like any other holiday gathering. But I could feel a heaviness in the room, a sense that something was about to break, that everything I believed about my family might be challenged. And as the evening progressed, conversations grew sharper, jokes became slightly biting, and I noticed my brother glancing at me with an intensity that made my stomach churn. I tried to ignore it, focusing on the food, the decorations, the laughter of my nieces and nephews. But the feeling would not leave me, that sense of foreboding, that whispers of something terrible were about to unfold. And then it happened. My brother stood up. The conversation stopped. The children looked at him curiously. The adults shifted uncomfortably in their seats, and in a voice clear and unwavering, he said, "You are no longer part of this family." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Everyone turned to look at me, some faces shocked, others excited, some pretending not to notice. But the impact was immediate. My heart raced, my hands trembled, my mind spun, trying to make sense of what had just been declared. And in that instant, the warmth of the holiday vanished, replaced by an icy reality that nothing would ever be the same. The dishes on the table, the lights on the tree, the laughter of children all faded into the background, leaving only the weight of betrayal and the question of what I would do next. As I sat frozen for a few seconds, I realized that this was not just a casual argument or a passing disagreement. This was a defining moment, a moment that would test my strength, my courage, and my ability to respond wisely. And I knew instinctively that how I handled the next few minutes would shape everything that followed and set the stage for a revelation that no one could have predicted. And as I took a deep breath trying to steady my shaking hands, I felt a strange sense of clarity. The room might be full of chaos and judgment, but I had a choice. I could either let this moment destroy me, or I could turn it into an opportunity to show strength, wisdom, and composure. And in that choice lay the power to change not just the course of the evening, but the way my family would remember me forever. The room fell into an uneasy silence. The warmth of the evening vanished, replaced by an atmosphere thick with tension and disbelief. My brother stood tall, his eyes fixed on me, his expression unreadable, yet filled with a kind of cruel satisfaction. The rest of the family watched intently, some whispering to each other, some nodding in agreement, and some hiding shocked faces behind hands. I felt a surge of emotions coursing through me: confusion, fear, anger, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal all at once. I tried to speak, to explain, to reason, to appeal to anyone who might intervene, but the words stuck in my throat. My voice betrayed me, and the silence only deepened, as if the house itself was holding its breath, awaiting my reaction. I could feel my pulse hammering in my temples, my hands clenched into fists under the table, yet I knew losing control would only feed the chaos. I took a deep breath and tried to center myself, remembering every lesson I had learned about composure and courage in moments of crisis. I reminded myself that no matter how overwhelming the situation seemed, I had the power to choose my response. The children looked at me with wide eyes, sensing the tension without understanding its full meaning. The adults continued to exchange glances and murmurs, some leaning forward intrigued by the spectacle, some pulling back with discomfort. It was as if the entire room had become a stage, and we were actors in a play. None of us had rehearsed. The words my brother had spoken reverberated through my mind like a hammer striking again and again. How could he say such a thing in front of everyone? How could he reduce years of shared memories and family bonds to a declaration that I no longer belonged? How could this moment feel so real and yet so absurd at the same time? The applause that followed my brother's announcement seemed surreal, a surreal confirmation that my presence had somehow become a threat, a disruption, a problem to be removed. Yet amid the shock and humiliation, I sensed a faint spark of defiance growing within me, a quiet determination to take control of the narrative, to turn the tables and show that dignity, intelligence, and courage are never dictated by the opinions of others, even when those others are your own family. I slowly moved my hands toward the table, feeling the smooth edges of the polished surface beneath my fingers. I allowed my gaze to sweep across the faces of those who cheered and those who remained silent. I observed the way my brother's triumphant expression faltered just slightly at my calm. The moment stretched and hung heavy, as if time itself had paused, waiting for my next move. And in that pause, I realized the power of anticipation, how the smallest action could completely shift the energy in the room, how a single choice could rewrite the perception of an entire family. And then I reached for the folder that sat at the edge of the table, the folder that contained information that would change everything, that would shock my brother and the others, that would turn fear and chaos into astonishment and reflection. And as I placed it gently in front of him and said in a soft yet deliberate voice, "Then I guess you won't need this," the room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for him to open it, the air thick with curiosity and tension. And as he lifted the cover and began to read, the words inside, the screams that followed echoed through the house, a mixture of disbelief, outrage, and fear that stunned everyone in their tracks. And in that moment, I felt the truth of what I had known all along: courage, intelligence, and composure are the ultimate tools to navigate betrayal and conflict, and no matter your age, you can use them to transform even the darkest moments into revelations that inspire change and respect. And the lesson became crystal clear that evening, that while we cannot always control the actions of others, we can control our response, our choices, and our ability to maintain dignity and power in every situation. And as the echoes of his screams faded into shocked silence, I realized that this was not the end, but a turning point, a moment that would define the rest of our family story. And in that realization, I felt a deep sense of calm and empowerment, knowing that the chaos had been met with clarity and the unexpected had been turned into a moment of revelation and authority. As my brother stared at the contents of the folder, the initial shock on his face quickly gave way to disbelief and then to panic. He could not comprehend how something so simple, yet so powerful, could alter the dynamic in the room. The information inside revealed truths and secrets that had been hidden beneath the surface of our family for years. It exposed manipulations and decisions that no one had questioned until that exact moment. I watched as his confident posture crumbled, the triumphant smile that had crossed his face moments before vanished, replaced by confusion and horror. The rest of the family leaned in closer, some whispering, others gasping, but I remained calm, my hands steady, my breathing measured. I felt a strange sense of satisfaction, not from revenge, but from the clarity that the truth brings when wielded with intelligence and patience. In the following minutes, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The room that had been tense and judgmental transformed into a space of astonishment and reflection. My brother's voice wavered as he tried to explain himself, yet no words could undo what had been revealed. The more he spoke, the more the room seemed to quiet down. The energy that had been chaotic and oppressive moments before slowly dissipated, replaced by a new awareness that power and control are not dictated by volume or aggression, but by presence and strategic action. I realized that in this moment I had demonstrated something profoundly important, even at an age when society assumes we should be passive or diminished in influence. We possess the capacity to alter perceptions and regain respect with patience, composure, and intelligence. As my brother sank into a chair, overwhelmed, the rest of the family began to process the situation. Their previous cheers and applause now seemed premature, replaced by a mixture of awe and contemplation. I observed my sister, the one who had tried to assert authority over me. She looked at me with a mix of anger, confusion, and begrudging respect, and in her eyes I could see that the lesson was sinking in, that boundaries and dignity are not given, they are taken. They are defended through courage and careful action. I took a deep breath and allowed myself a moment to feel the weight of the evening. The adrenaline and shock of the conflict still thrummed beneath my skin, yet I felt a calm I had never experienced before, a sense that no matter what came next, I had reclaimed control and demonstrated the strength that comes from self-awareness and clarity. The children, who had been watching wide-eyed, began to relax, sensing that the chaos had ended and that their role in the drama was over. The adults continued to whisper among themselves, some exchanging looks of surprise, others nodding slightly, acknowledging the shift that had occurred. And as the evening progressed, the room seemed to breathe again, as if the revelation in the folder had reset the energy in the house. The conflict that had threatened to dominate the night was transformed into a moment of reflection, learning, and a silent acknowledgement that the dynamics of respect and authority had changed irrevocably. I felt a sense of empowerment unlike anything I had experienced before. I realized that even at 65 or 70 years old or beyond, we are capable of shaping outcomes and altering the course of events with deliberate thought, patience, and courage. The night continued, and while conversations slowly resumed around the table, the memory of the screams, the shock, the astonishment lingered as a subtle undercurrent, reminding everyone present that moments of crisis carry within them the opportunity for profound revelation and transformation. I reflected on the lessons embedded in the evening, that courage is not loud, it is calculated. It is the ability to stand firm in the face of chaos, and the knowledge that every action carries weight that can ripple through time and relationships. And as the room settled into a quieter rhythm, the gravity of the evening began to crystallize. The revelation was clear that age does not diminish insight, that wisdom allows us to navigate complex family dynamics with grace and authority, and that the capacity to respond intelligently and strategically to betrayal or unexpected conflict is available to everyone regardless of years. Live the power lies not in retaliation but in clarity and observation, and in the confident execution of a plan that restores balance and demonstrates that dignity and self-respect are not negotiable. The moments following the opening of the folder were electric with realization and self-reflection. My brother sat stunned, the other adults whispered, trying to process what had unfolded, and I felt a deep inner peace, knowing that I had met the challenge with the tools I had cultivated over a lifetime: composure, clarity, and courage. And in that peaceful yet powerful realization, I understood that the evening had transformed not only the situation but also the perception of me within the family, a silent assertion that intelligence, patience, and integrity command attention and respect, and that even in the most shocking moments one can turn chaos into revelation and weakness into empowerment. And as the night wore on, I knew that this story would be remembered not for the conflict itself, but for the manner in which it was met with poise and decisiveness, and that the true victory lay in the demonstration that, at any age, we have the ability to alter the course of events and inspire recognition of our strength and wisdom. After the chaos of the evening settled and the initial shock faded, I began to reflect deeply on what had just happened. The lesson was clear that no matter your age or the years behind you, the ability to face conflict with composure, intelligence, and courage is always within reach. Many people assume that reaching retirement age means stepping back or losing influence, but the truth is that life experience provides a unique advantage, a perspective that allows us to see situations more clearly and To act with strategic patience. As I thought about my brother, my sister, and the rest of the family, I realized that their reactions were shaped by expectation and surprise. They did not anticipate a response that was calm, measured, and deliberate. They expected fear, hesitation, or emotional collapse, but instead they witnessed poise and confidence, and that is the essence of the learning I wanted to share with anyone watching. You do not need to shout or argue to assert yourself. You do not need to react impulsively to regain respect. You simply need to trust in your knowledge, your experience, and your ability to navigate complex human interactions with grace and clarity. Consider for a moment the challenges you have faced in your own family, perhaps disagreements over finances, health decisions, or lifestyle choices. Maybe conflicts that have simmered for years suddenly explode in an instant, and in those moments the instinct is often to respond emotionally, yet the real power lies in taking a breath, assessing the situation, and choosing an action that aligns with your long-term goals and values. I reflected on the importance of boundaries, setting limits on what you will tolerate, and understanding that dignity is not granted by others. It is claimed through action. It is defended through intelligence and courage. In the moments following my brother's outburst, the room changed because I chose my response carefully. The lesson for anyone watching is that you hold the same power regardless of your age or physical limitations. The second lesson is the value of preparation and awareness. Understanding the dynamics around you, noticing subtle cues, and anticipating potential outcomes allows you to act decisively when the moment arises. And finally, the third lesson is the transformative power of calmness. A steady demeanor can shift the energy in any room. It can change perceptions, influence behavior, and create respect, even in the most heated confrontations. As I looked around at the faces of my family, the astonishment, the reflection, the dawning understanding, I felt the truth of what I was teaching, and it was simple yet profound, that life does not end or become insignificant with age. Instead, each decade brings opportunities to wield wisdom and authority with impact and significance. The evening reinforced that moments of conflict are also moments of opportunities to demonstrate courage, clarity, and integrity. The story serves as a reminder that you can transform chaos into revelation and tension into understanding, and that the choices you make in the heat of conflict define not only the immediate situation but also your legacy and influence within your family and community. It reminded me that self-respect is non-negotiable, and that standing firm in your values with composure and intelligence inspires recognition, admiration, and sometimes change, even in those who seem set against you. The reflection did not end with personal insight. It extended to practical application for the viewer. Consider your next family gathering, your next disagreement, or unexpected confrontation, and imagine how different the outcome could be if you approached it with calmness and strategy. If you allowed your years of experience to guide you instead of emotions, your voice and presence can carry authority and respect that cannot be ignored. And I encourage anyone watching to internalize this lesson and apply it in daily life. To start small, in everyday interactions, building confidence and demonstrating poise, and gradually you will see that your influence grows, your family dynamics shift, and your ability to handle difficult moments strengthens dramatically. And the evening also taught me the value of perspective, to step back and assess, not react impulsively, to see the bigger picture and the long-term consequences of each action and response. In doing so, you maintain control and demonstrate maturity, wisdom, and leadership that is respected and often emulated. And the final reflection is that life continues to offer opportunities for growth and empowerment, that age does not diminish the ability to act strategically, think clearly, and inspire change. It enhances it, because with years come insight, patience, and understanding that can turn even the most unexpected and shocking family conflicts into lessons of courage, dignity, and strength. And as I sat quietly after the storm passed, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder that the principles of composure, intelligence, and courage are timeless and universally applicable, and that no matter how many years have passed, you can always choose to respond with power, clarity, and wisdom, and influence the outcome of any situation in a way that honors your values, your experience, and your inherent strength. The most important lesson from that night is that no matter your age, you have the power to shape outcomes and assert your presence with clarity and authority. When confronted with conflict, many people assume that the older we get, the less capable we are of influencing others. But in reality, the opposite is true. Experience and wisdom give us an advantage that younger people have yet to cultivate. Imagine yourself at your next family gathering or any situation where tension arises. Take a moment to breathe, observe the dynamics, and identify the best course of action. Do not react impulsively. Do not allow anger or fear to control your choices. Instead, focus on what you can control: your voice, your posture, your calmness, your decision to act strategically. These elements carry immense power when executed with confidence. The second practical insight is the importance of preparation and awareness. Anticipate potential conflicts before they arise. Understand the personalities involved, the history of Interactions, the subtle cues that hint at tension being prepared, allows you to respond decisively rather than react emotionally. The third insight is the transformative power of composure. A steady demeanor can disarm hostility, it can shift perceptions, it can turn disbelief into respect. When my brother made his declaration, the room expected fear and collapse. Instead, they witnessed calmness, measured action, and intelligence. The result was a complete reversal of power dynamics, and that is exactly what you can achieve in your own life. Start by identifying moments where you tend to react emotionally, then practice pausing, breathing, and evaluating your response. Ask yourself what outcome you desire and what action aligns with your values and long-term goals. As you apply this technique consistently, you will notice that your influence grows, your confidence increases, and people begin to take your perspective seriously. The fourth practical takeaway is the importance of boundaries. Know what you will accept and what you will not tolerate. Defend those boundaries with calm assertiveness. Communicate clearly and act decisively. When they are crossed, boundaries are not just about control, they are about respect for yourself and your principles, and when applied with wisdom, they command attention and consideration. The fifth insight is that courage is not about confrontation, it is about clarity and action. Understanding the situation, assessing it, and then acting in alignment with your values demonstrates real strength. It is not loud, it is deliberate, strategic, and unshakable. The night of Christmas taught me that these principles can be applied at any age to any situation, whether it is a family conflict, a dispute with friends, or navigating difficult conversations in your community. The key is consistent practice, using awareness and composure to guide your choices. And as you integrate these lessons into daily life, you will find that challenges that once seemed overwhelming now become opportunities to demonstrate poise, intelligence, and dignity. You will begin to notice that people respond differently to you, that respect and recognition naturally follow strategic, calm action, and that your own confidence in handling adversity strengthens with each experience. And remember that age is not a limitation, it is an asset. The years you have lived provide insight, patience, and understanding that can be used to navigate complex human interactions with greater skill and effectiveness than you may have realized. Start small with daily interactions. Notice your tendency to react emotionally, pause, assess, and then respond deliberately. You'll be surprised at how quickly the dynamics shift and the outcomes change. And as these practices become habitual, you will find that even in moments of high tension, you can remain composed, confident, and influential. And in doing so, you'll transform not only the situation, but also how you are perceived by others. And most importantly, you will reclaim your own sense of power, dignity, and self-respect. The ultimate message is simple yet profound, that regardless of your age or experience, provides you with the tools necessary to navigate conflict, assert boundaries, maintain composure, and influence outcomes, and that by consciously applying these tools, you can turn moments of potential chaos into demonstrations of strength, clarity, and wisdom. And the night of Christmas reminded me that these principles work in practice, that deliberate, calm, strategic action yields respect, and that anyone watching this story can apply these lessons immediately to see real results in their own lives. And in that realization, the path forward became clear, that even in the most unexpected and challenging situations, we can act with authority, intelligence, and courage, and influence the outcome positively while maintaining dignity and respect for ourselves and others. If you found value in this story and the lessons shared, I encourage you to take action now. Do not wait for another family gathering or another moment of tension to apply these principles like courage, composure, and strategic action. Begin today in your daily interactions. Notice when emotions rise, pause, take a breath, and choose a deliberate response. You have the ability to influence outcomes, maintain dignity, and assert boundaries. And by practicing these skills consistently, you will see your confidence grow, your relationships improve, and your influence strengthen. Now, while you are watching this video, take a moment to click the like button to show support for the channel and help more people discover these insights. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that can inspire and empower you. And share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your experiences and reflections on family conflicts, how you maintain composure and courage, and how you transform challenging moments into opportunities for growth. And do not forget to look at the screen, because a related video is appearing right now, a video that continues to explore powerful lessons and inspiring real-life stories. Click to watch it and continue learning and applying these strategies in your own life. Remember that no matter your age, every day is an opportunity to act with wisdom and confidence, to influence outcomes and to demonstrate your strength and clarity to those around you. Never underestimate the power of calm, deliberate action and the impact it can have in your family, community, and personal life. Take this story as a reminder that age is an asset, experience is a tool, and courage is a choice. And as you move forward, approach each situation with awareness, composure, and strategic thought. Empower yourself to handle conflict, assert boundaries, and maintain dignity and respect. And let these lessons guide you to transform even the most unexpected challenges into moments of growth and revelation. And now, as you click to the next video or reflect on this one, carry with you the understanding that you can face anything with calm intelligence and courage, that your actions matter, that your presence commands respect, and that every moment is an opportunity to demonstrate wisdom, strength, and integrity. And thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this story inspired you, reminded you of your own strength, and provided practical tools you can apply immediately to navigate conflict and influence outcomes with dignity and confidence. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and continue exploring the lessons shared in these stories. Your journey of empowerment and insight continues, and the next story is waiting for you right now.